Hello, my name is Father Eamon Kelly, and I welcome you to Magdala, where I have been serving on location for about 4 years. And I am very grateful that Voice of Faith is giving such generous time to allow you to encounter the great treasures that Providence has opened up for all of us, with one surprise after another. And so when we intended to build a center for pilgrims here, we discovered all the rich archaeology next to the Franciscan site, which also has extraordinary archaeology for a longer period. And this archaeology is incorporated into Duc In Altum. So here we are in Duc In Altum at the Boat Altar Chapel. Duc In Altum are the words that Jesus said to Peter. These are the words Peter heard coming from Jesus' mouth. And he said, "Go out into the deep." These are words of great encouragement for Peter, who was really discouraged. He hadn't caught anything, but he generously let Jesus use his boat to preach to the multitudes. And when he was finished, Jesus said to Peter, "Go out into the deep." I'm not sure Peter would have even wanted to do this. But impelled by Jesus' words, out he goes. And we know the rest of the story, the big catch of fish. And from now on, you will be fishers of men, fishers of people, bringing people into God's kingdom. So here we are then with the boat, sitting on this marble from Norway, which was chosen by the architects and the artists because it gives the impression of water. So this boat was built of Lebanese cedar. Lebanon is just less than an hour north of us. And then looking out on the lake here and listening to the proclamation of the gospel from the boat altar, it seems like Jesus is speaking to us today from the boat. And actually outside the windows here, we have the first century port. Magdala was a port town exporting fish to Rome, which explains abundant trade and profit and therefore resources to build the most beautiful synagogue so far discovered from the first century, with the beautiful frescoes and mosaics you have seen. They also had first century port, so it's quite a long stretch of port frontage, which means this was a very, very busy town. Then around Duc In Altum, we're sitting on water. And if you look at the shape of the building, in this chapel, it looks like a boat. So the boat's on water at the port. So it's a wonderful sensation of sitting here, reflecting, praying, and thinking any day Jesus can come in on his boat. Actually, the first big space that receives us right here is the women's atrium. And this space is the central space of the building. You cannot go to any chapel unless you pass through it. It's the most beautiful place of the building, with mosaics, frescoes, columns. And the columns represent the women of Jesus' community. They were pillars in his community. They held his community together and strong with him. They dedicated themselves from their heart with everything they had. And so we have this beautiful line describing or capturing this gift of these women. And it says, in this holy place, the church gives thanks to the most holy Trinity for the feminine genius, for each woman, for their eternal dignity, and for the marvels God has accomplished through women throughout history. So it touches many women to see this representing these women of Jesus' community, and this line representing all women, and the mosaic ribbon, which we could say represents the women of the Hebrew Scriptures. So Magdala in our synagogue, which is a treasure for the Jewish people, but also a treasure for us Christians, is a crossroads of Jewish and Christian history from its archaeology language. But the spirit here is a crossroads for everyone, and every woman can feel at home here, no matter what her background is. And there's one column without any name, and that is your column. And every woman here is honored and cherished and welcomed. So know that you have your place here in the Holy Land. We also have the prayerful hands of Mary, the mother of Jesus. And then we have 4 chapels around the Atrium of the women, and the artistic interpretation is wonderful, carried out by Italian specialists of Murano glass, 160,000 pieces in each chapel. Marvelous works of art that take us into that mystery of Christ in each case, when he's raising Talitha, the daughter of Jairus, from the dead. And it's amazing in that chapel when families are here with their little girls, or sometimes their bigger girls, and they put their hand in Jesus' hand alongside Talitha's hand. Jesus, thank you for holding my hand. Then we have the chapel of Mary Magdalene. It's actually the first chapel on the right as you come in. And there's also the column honoring Mary Magdalene. And there, also in a 160,000 piece Murano glass mosaic, we see Mary Magdalene in the only Galilee text in the Gospels regarding her, where Jesus frees her from 7 demons. And you see this woman in her rediscovered fullness of her dignity, of her joy of who she is in the presence of Jesus, a new creation, the first witness of Jesus risen from the dead. And then we have the call of the first disciples, leaving their boats as Jesus comes to invite them to follow him and become fishers of people. And we have the 4th one is Peter sinking in the water, crying out, "Lord, save me, I perish." And Jesus takes him out. And many a man has gone up there and put his hand up beside Peter's hand so that Jesus could catch his hand as well. So now let me take you downstairs to see the Encounter Chapel. And here we have 3 major realities. Number 1, on the floor, we have part of the 1st century port. The road alongside the port, part of it is in that part of the floor on the left as you come into the chapel. And then we have the space of the chapel is designed like our synagogue. Imagine the priest saying, "Our synagogue." And we are looking at this beautiful picture of the woman touching Jesus' cloak and being healed after 12 years of hemorrhaging, having given all her money to the doctors in vain. So many illnesses in this world, and many times even despite great medical advances, still not being able to stop them or cure them. And here she is with her great faith, and Jesus says, "Daughter, your great faith has healed you." How many pilgrims have come here and put their finger out towards Jesus? Jesus, I believe in you. Jesus, I hope in you. Jesus, I love you. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus, I adore you.